This life that we live is a sick joke. It feels so cruel. All the things that we have to go through every single day. And it's the accumulation of the little things that lead to a lot of outbursts. A lot of big things that happen in our life that are negative, we can see that. But it's the tiny things. It's the you're already running late for work in the morning, and then damn, you forgot to get gas, and then you look at the gas station and the gas station's packed, and if you wait for there, you're gonna go inside the gas station. Maybe you need something for lunch. So you need a bag of chips. You need a soda. You need this, and then you know, or maybe you just rush to the gas station and try to put your gas in. Then there's one person's taking a long time, and it's just like there's always small external factors. And then when you go to work, your boss is yelling at you. Your coworkers are looking at you. They threaten to fire you and all that, and that just builds up because the night before, you were thinking to yourself, do you even want to be in this existence anymore? And then you're dealing with that, and it just reinforces the point that you don't really belong in this world. You don't really belong in this society where it's evil and it's wicked and it's sadistic. You're a good person. You're a person that you like tranquility. You like your peace. You like your reservation of mind. And usually you always find yourself around the most toxic, around the most evil, around the most conniving, the most deceptive, the most deceitful people ever. You know? And one thing I don't like is deceitful people. I can't stand somebody who tries to smile in your face, but inside their heart, they have darkness, they have evil for you, they have smoke for you, and you didn't do nothing to this person. But in your face, they like to smile, or when they talk to you about other people, they try to make you look like you're the problem. And you're not doing anything wrong, but just trying to be an entrepreneur and be successful. Meanwhile, they're sitting there talking about you, which lets you know that you're the main factor. This world is built on chaos. There's nobody really coming together in this world and trying to make an impact that affects us all in a positive light. All the things that we go through, it's all to take away our confidence and destroy our belief in ourselves, to make sure that we follow a system that's designed and it's hell bent on our own destruction. The corruption is right in front of our faces. Everybody knows about the Epstein and all that stuff. Everybody knows what's going on in the Middle East. Everybody knows, America's greatest ally. Everybody knows who that is now, you know, but yet no one's doing anything about it. Everybody's just waking up every day and paying bills. You're not going to get a system change when you're just operating on the same type of vibrational frequency, when you're operating on the same type of terms and conditions that put you in servitude in the first place. We need a new system, honestly, but it's not going to happen because the system's designed perfectly to cause torture. It's not an accident when you look at other people's lives and you're like, damn, how did that guy get that? How did he get that cute girl in his life? And how did he do this? And how did he do that? And damn, he was able to make it real quick. He made one beat and took off, and now he runs the world. How the hell did he do that? And you start questioning yourself and start thinking, damn, what is it that I didn't do? No, 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 no. It's not that you didn't do anything. You didn't work hard enough. It's that you have evil things going on in realms you can't even imagine. Because all we know is the physical world. All we know is what we see before us. Unless you take ayahuasca or datura, or you take DMT or something like that, or any type of psychedelics, and then you start talking to entities from other dimensions, and you start seeing dimensions and realms and hellscapes and all types of stuff, and you start to realize, hey, there's something to this, right? But there's a bigger picture to this all. There's a bigger picture to all of this. This torture, this torment of our souls, this goal to break our individuality, to destroy our sovereignty. This is something that's being operated and orchestrated by the demiurge. I don't care what anybody says. I truly believe there are evil entities in other dimensions that are controlling our lives. Just like you can control the life of a goldfish inside of its goldfish bowl. You put the goldfish inside the bowl, and the goldfish doesn't know whether it's in a river, a bowl, or a lake. It doesn't care. All it cares about is if you keep that bowl clean through a filtration system to get out the fish's waste and other byproducts from the food or whatever. All the fish cares about is the air clean. I say air, but I'm doing it simultaneously. I'm making a comparison. How humans just care about the clean air, right? As air to fish is water. So humans care about clean air, even though the air is polluted, and as long as you give them food and a job, and they're happy. The same with the goldfish. The goldfish has clean water. Give it a couple of goldfish pellets, and it's happy. It doesn't care. But the goldfish is inside that bowl. We're inside this little dimensional bowl, this dimensional bubble, wherever we're at in this dimension, this hell realm. But there's other realms, other realities that are so much better than this, right? And I do, and I'm not saying those realities are close. I'm not saying there's some heavenly reality, you know, that's close by, because the only heavenly reality is made by the demiurge, and that's a false heaven. No matter how beautiful, no matter if you see the light, no matter if when you pass away, they transform into your past loved ones and all that, and you think that that person's really, really your lost loved one, because they remember the time you were 7 years old and you broke down your bike and the dog came from the corner and scared you or whatever the heck, because they know little things about your life that only the other person would know. You think that that's that person, not realizing that these spirits, these spirits and these entities that are enemies have been watching you silently the whole time. You ever been in your room or been somewhere and you felt like you were being watched? You know, has that ever happened to you? You're somewhere and you're by yourself, no one's in the house, and you just look over your shoulder real quick. Like it just happens. That what the heck is that? And nothing's there. Have you ever heard things go bump in the night? Like, have you ever heard, like, the house is quiet, you're by yourself, and you just hear, like, just random tappings or random things, It's like, what the hell is that? Some people say, oh, it's just the wind, or it's just the house settling. And it's like, yeah, okay. You guys can't join my squad, because if we're in Skinwalker Ranch and we're some secret underground base fighting demons like Doom, I need people on my team that are prepared, that are well aware, and that are not foolish, So you can say it's just some wind or something like that, but I believe it's something else, because every now and then people catch glimpses of like ghost or evil type of beings into the realms, into the realm between realms, just like the Tower of London. The Tower of London been haunted, for so long. Even back in the days of King Henry VIII, even the guards there would say they would see mysterious dark figures, or they will see, the headless woman, or they'll see just crazy stuff going on, whispers, footsteps, strange lights, all this. And it's like, okay, where's this all coming from? And why? And why are we able to see this? And why are we able to perceive this? And why are we able, and why every time we experience something supernatural, for the most part, there's always this attachment to fear. Fear is one of the number one things that's going to guide a lot of our lives in this situation. Being scared to try, being scared to fail, being scared to even start. It's just brutal. Because when you've been through so much pain and you've been through so much just crap in your life, you already know, man, that it's just more than likely it's just going to keep on happening, because there's something that doesn't want you to be successful. Have you ever noticed certain people, they're able to get success and they don't even try that hard, right? They don't try hard at all. They don't study for the test. They don't do that. They just, boom, they pass the test. Hell, they may even ace the test or get a B on the test. Meanwhile, you study for that test for like 2 months, you know, and you barely passed with like a D or a C, or you may have failed it, bombed it, and it's just like, wow. It's just the same thing with people that are able to get women so easily. These people are able to just look at a woman, look at a girl, smile at her, or hell, she comes up to them. And the next thing you know, they're hitting it from the back, making that nanny smack and doing all of that. And meanwhile, you're emotionally frustrated, you're sexually frustrated, you're irritated by life, you're annoyed by the myriad of circumstances that you find yourself under. And this thunder of reality is just, it shows no mercy. I see why the new generation are kind of like dropping out and kind of just saying forget it, because in reality, what are you really doing? To all the people that always says, oh, you neats and you hikikomori and you guys that don't get girls and you guys that are weird, you black pill guys, you guys are weirdos and you guys are this and you guys are that. But it's like, we didn't choose the black pill. The black pill is just life. It's just what naturally happens, like it's just that simple, right? It's like, it's natural for crocodiles to wait in the river and wait for the gazelle to cross, to wait for the gazelle and the zebra to cross. It's just a natural thing of life. And it's a natural thing of life that women just like attractive men. And men like attractive women. But the problem is this: a man that's not the most attractive He'll settle for a girl, that's a 3 out of 10, a 4 out of 10, or whatever. But you got girls that are 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10, and they want a 10 out of 10 guy, and they want and they don't want nothing to do with the guy that's their looks match. They don't want nothing to do with the guy that looks like them. That causes a huge discrepancy. That causes a huge problem. It's significant. You have millions of young men out there that are in their primes, yet they're trapped inside playing video games. They're trapped inside watching anime. They're trapped inside watching adult explicit material. Never knowing how it feels like to have a girl sitting in their lap, have a girl in her bikini, and she's like running off through the water. And you see her booty jiggling, like those little moments in time, right? Those little moments in time that as a man, it makes you genuinely happy and genuinely proud to be a man, to be in a position where you got a beautiful girl with a cute booty, she got a cute face, slim waist, all that, she got it going on, you see her hair blown in the wind, she's running with the water all on her, and it's just like, she dries off, she gets changed, you guys go out to eat, you go to the movies, you go to dinner, and then you have her for dessert, and that's just a normal functionality of a human. But nowadays, most of us are just like, we're not living, bruh. We're just struggling to survive. We just wake up every day, go to the 9 to 5, or, try to find the 9 to 5, go deal with that social hierarchy that goes on in the job. Come home and you're so drained, you're so tired that you don't even know what to do. So you just, relax, watch some YouTube, smoke something, get some soda, get a slice of cake, and you sit back and chill. But what if throughout that whole day, there is invisible entities that purposely put these people around your life? They put that manager as your manager because they know that he's going to yell at you, or going to drain your energy. They put those nosy coworkers around you that just keep gossiping. You're the type of person, you don't gossip at all. You stay to yourself. You don't bother nobody. You just mind your own business, because that's what a normal functioning human does. But the coworkers, they want to get into your business. They want to know more about you, and the more you don't want to tell them, like, hey man, I'm just here because, I just need a job and woo woo, if you have a YouTube channel, they want to know your channel. They want to know this. That's why it's like, it's best, to just stick to yourself and, just keep to yourself, man, and don't bother people, like that's always been my motto, but other people just don't follow that same type of rule. And at your job site, you need the job because you need the money to pay bills so you won't be homeless. Because once you're homeless, you're really screwed. Ask me how I know. The psychological ramifications of all this desolation and all this soul degradation, it does something to you. Psychologically, man, it's, I was watching Cyber Yaml, and she was talking about, she's schizophrenic, and she was talking about the voices in the head, and I was agreeing with her, because sometimes you have these scenarios in your head where it does feel like there's something talking to you in your mind, and it does feel like something's watching you. Now you gotta understand, I'm schizophrenic, so if you're a normal type of person, this may not, you might be like, what the hell is the guy talking about? But for those of us that are crazy, or those of us that know about the spirit world, we know that there's beings that do watch you. You can call them familiar spirits, watchers, whatever you want to call them, but these are beings that are kind of like assigned to you, and they're assigned to make sure that you can only go so far. Like, have you ever wondered why, like, something you got like really close to accomplishing, and you got really far and you put hard work into it, and in the end you didn't make it? You're like, what the hell, how come I didn't make it? And then you see somebody else who's not even as talented as you, they make it so easy, and you're like, how did that person make it? Right? Like, how? But you don't see the big picture, right? Like, that person may have made it, but you don't know the rituals, you don't know the things they did behind closed doors. Some people may say, F it, they would do it too. But see, the demiurge knows people that say that, oh, you want to sell your soul, you want to do that. Then the demiurge will make sure that you can't sell your soul, because the demiurge doesn't want you happy. Because, some of us, if we sell out and become millionaires somehow, then we're going to be happy. We're multi-millionaires. How the hell can you not be happy? Bentley, Coupe, Lamborghini, Ferrari, the mansion, the girls, the weed, the cars, the clothes, the fast life, the diamonds, the jewelry, everything you can ask for. The new PlayStation, the new Xbox, like, you know what I mean? The new TV. You ain't got to worry about, just a bunch of crap. You ain't got to worry about how you're going to pay your bills. You ain't got to worry about what you're going to eat. You ain't got to worry about no damn EBT. You ain't got to worry about none of that. You ain't got to worry about no algorithm or like you can just focus and just create. Like that's all that's the space that I always wanted to be in. The ability to just focus and create, right? Because I always believe that creation, that is the human soul. Like I believe each and every one of us are designed to create something. We're designed to grow something, plant a seed into the ground, make a YouTube video, make an art, make something, create. That's what Terrence McKenna was preaching. He was saying, don't just consume, create, produce, create. And you may think, what for? Well, if you ask that question, you must be a Hylic or NPC, because those with the divine spark, they have a natural inclination and a natural propensity and a natural acuity for creation. And those are the ones with souls. And I was thinking, man, what if, how they say there's billions and billions of people, right? What if in reality, there's only about maybe less than 1 million people that are actually real? Let's say about 500,000 people or 300,000 people around the world. And those are like the real, true people. Like they really got souls, they're real. And everything else around us is just fake, Just just like in a video game where your character and your character and your avatar, that may be fake. Like your body, your bones, and your flesh, that may not be real. It may feel real, whatever, but your real you is your soul. So when you're playing the video game, the real you is the one behind the controller or behind the keyboard. But you're playing, and what if a lot of people, like I'll give an example, Fortnite, right? Fortnite, you be playing, and you just be going around the map, and you body some bots, and then you run into a real person, they start flipping, skipping, and dipping, and flying through the air, and then you hit them first, and they still win the battle. It's like, what the heck? What's that about? So what if this world is filled with a bunch of NPCs and Hylics? What if there's more people that are fake people, fake souls, created by the demiurge to torture us and to torment us, and they're put strategically in our lives to bring our emotions down. They're put strategically in our lives to make us feel less than, to make us feel like we're nothing. They're put in our lives on purpose so we can feel worthless. What if there's more of them around us? And what if this whole thing is fake? And what if there's actually like people that you run into, like the people that you get along with, they got a real soul? What if those are real souls and everybody else is just a fake? So there's billions of fake people around here. The government system's fake. Everything's fake, and everything is not even real. These are just beings made. These are soulless beings all around us. They could be your coworker, your manager, your boss, even your family members. They can be people right around you. They can be people sleeping in the same room as you. If you got roommates, right? And these people and they're there on purpose to do something to make your life a living hell. Just notice something about your life. You're going to notice that there's a series of events that happen. You come home from work, and let's say your dad opens the door and he just looks at you and doesn't say anything to you, kind of frowns at you, because in the back of his head, when he was your age, he had a house, a summer house, and a second wife and a second family. If you let him tell it, right? Or maybe you still live with your parents, and or you live with family or something like that, and you can't really bring any girls over, or hell, if you even had a girl to bring over in the first place, but you know what I mean? Like, you can't really feel that independence. And then you hear about guys that got cars, they got their own apartment, they got this, and they still can't get laid. They still can't get a girl inside their bed. It's like, damn, like, is it really does life really have to be this stressful? Does it really have to be this hard to be trapped in this perpetual solidification of ignorance and pain? Because it makes no sense after a while. After a while, you got to look at this world and think, whoever created this is wicked, is evil. This is not a nice person who created this. Just look at it. I was watching a documentary on parasites, and then specifically it was ocean parasites. And some of these things were horrifying. The blue whale? The blue whale can have like a parasite that's more than like 20, like 50 foot or 75 foot. Can you imagine a 75-foot worm or parasite? That's some shit you see in like what Resident Evil or Doom. You know, like that's one of those scary, crazy monsters you see in a video game, bruh. And yet that's a living worm that's inside of a blue whale. And other whales as well. They have these huge parasites that if you take it out their body, these things can still survive, for a little bit, right? And these things, they can reproduce, and the whole object of these things is so they can feed on other beings. They can feed on things more stronger and more greater than them. That's the archons. They're parasite beings, meaning that they need us. We don't need them. That's why they hover around us. That's why they watch us. That's why they need our energy. They wait for our reactions. Oh, how's he going to react if I do this? If let's say he has to get to work at 7:15, what if I don't make the bus come till 7:45? And then they see your reaction. They gauge your reaction. Oh yeah. Oh, we got a reaction out of him. Oh yeah. Like that's their like reward. We got to loose from him. We got his negative energetic manifestational frequency. We got his attention. It's like for the archons to do all that, you must be somebody special. Because if you were nobody, no one's going to do all that. No being is going to take your eternal soul, trap it in flesh, and then put you in situations that only really affect the flesh, and it affects the spirit as well. But it affects the prioritization is destruction of your flesh, is a corruption of your flesh, which since your soul is inside of it, is a corruption of your soul as well. What I mean by that is that you have the pleasures of the flesh in this world right before you. The drugs, the sex, the rock and roll, the overeating, the gluttony, the this, like you have all the pleasures of the flesh, and the world prioritizes destroying that, but also, simultaneously, it also prioritizes destroying the soul. I think that's like the main thing out really is destroying your soul. This world will crush you. This world will tell you it's not good to create. It's not good to innovate. It's not good to think outside the box. You got to think like everybody else. You got to act like everybody else. You got to be like everybody else. And I don't know about you guys, but that doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't sit right with my spirit, knowing that I got to bow and kiss somebody else's ass in order for me to just exist. I just don't feel right. I just don't feel right. It doesn't sit well with me. What sits well with me is freedom. The ability to create and do whatever you want to do. And that ability is rare, I know, but it's just, I don't think humans should be in the position that we're in right now. We shouldn't be in this position where we're always subservient to somebody and we're always going through something. It's like our whole life is ran by money. Money, 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 money. You need money for this. You need money for that. You need money for that. It's like, okay, for all you Bible dupes out there, why would a loving and caring God allow the integration and manipulation and implementation of money? Why would a God allow that? You can't answer it because you don't want to answer it because you're scared of getting sent to some hell. Look around, you're already in hell. You got monsters and creatures and all type of other biological evil manifestations. We're trapped in this world, man. And it seems like it's never going to really get better. You have this war that's going on, and all that war is doing is making sure that our food prices stay up and making sure we're more miserable and more emotionally destroyed in this void than ever, right? So much nonsense. They have all this money to wage war, but if you ask them, can you extend my EBT, for another 3 months or for another year, they'll tell you to F off. But they have no problem giving America's favorite ally billions and trillions of dollars worth of armaments, missiles, tanks, airplanes, battleships, and all types of things that they need. And those people use those objects for terrible things. Let's put it that way, right? And yet nothing happens to them. They become more powerful. They become more eager. Meanwhile, the rest of us, bro, we're just trying to survive, man. A lot of us, bro, we just want to just find our peace, find our happiness, and try to survive. A lot of us, man, we just want to be left alone. But the problem is we don't have the wealth of the money to be left alone. So we're forced to be in a position where we're attacked. We're forced to be in a position where we got to interact with toxic family members. You got to interact with toxic people you don't really know. You know, you may have to live around them, or you may have to rent a room somewhere. You may have to be trapped somewhere. And it's like, damn, like, does this ever end? And the answer is hell no. It never ends for guys like us. That's why I can't imagine when I see these guys, when I see these millionaires complaining. I was watching a video earlier. There's one guy talking about how he's gonna take a break from YouTube. He doesn't know when he's coming back. And he thanks all his fans, and he was saying how in 1 year, I think he said he made $12 million, and that was just off YouTube. Like that, he has other businesses and other stuff he sells and all that. And he said he made like $12 million, and he was talking about how people changed up on him and all that, and how he's depressed. And I'm like, bro, give me that $12 million, and if you don't want it, give me that 12. Give me that 12 million. Bro. You know what I mean. My whole life would change, man. $12 million, bro. My whole life would change. Everything would change. I finally feel how it feels like to have power now, right? With that much money, you can pretty much do whatever the hell you want. 12 million, and then he made it off of YouTube. And he was talking about how he needs to take a break because his mental health is bad. I'm like, okay, what are you going through? Because I guess he found out that pretty much his girl was only with him because of who he is online and all that. I was like, well, bro, of course you met her because you're a famous YouTuber. So of course she's going to mess with you because you're a famous YouTuber. She met you when you were a famous YouTuber. She didn't meet you when you was broke, struggling, eating ramen noodles and having bologna sandwiches or having those cheese sandwiches, like she didn't meet you, back in the day, like back in the days when you were suffering. They got canned water, it's like, that's how you know you're at the bottom, when you start seeing canned water, But a lot of us have to go through that. A lot of us, we've been through that, right? And then people like that who have millions of dollars and they're complaining about depression. It's like, imagine what I'm going through, homie. You wouldn't survive a day in my shoes. Yet the demiurge chose to bless you. Yet this God chose to make you the millionaire and make you successful, while he chose to make me suffer and be trapped in this evil, sadistic, twisted world that I don't want no part of. I don't want no part of this wickedness and this evil. I want to be. I just want to be left alone, do my thing, and just not be bothered with anybody's nonsense, right? And this world is just very difficult to do that, man.